Welcome to the Block Party. My name is Seth Kushner, and today I'm joined by somebody who has offered to come on the podcast since day one, and now is finally here for a great reason. And then we're going to go through your whole history.
Okay.
But you are off to the All-Star Game.
Yes.
By the time this episode comes out, the All-Star Game would have already happened, just so you know.
Fair enough.
But it doesn't matter. But Greg Wolf is here. In-game arena host. I always get your title messed up.
It's fine. You can say in-game host. You can say in-arena host.
Okay.
But in-game arena host is kind of redundant.
Okay,
so.
yeah. Well, I wanted to get it right because I'm blinded by your Stanley Cup ring. Yeah. Do you wear that all the time?
No, I don't. But I figured I'm coming to the block party, so it's kind of like I should have it on anytime I'm in a building. In the building at any given moment, I feel like I should have it on, and I rotate them based upon when we have win streaks in the building. So this one obviously now has been worn and we have won. So I continue to wear this until we lose a game and then I switch.
I rotate them. That means there's multiple. So last year when you got it, I was going to save this for, deeper in the interview, but
sure.
it was great on social. You've been here forever and we'll get to that.
Have we even said who I am? I think.
An arena game host.
Okay,
right?
I just want to make sure.
I can't say who you are on Twitter, but I can say who you are right now.
Which is still funny to me, though. But anyways,
we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we
will.
Okay, so where were we? I was setting a whole thing up here
about the rings.
Okay, so they surprised you with the ring.
They did.
You didn't think you were going to get one.
I did not.
And tell me how it all went down.
So the facts are facts, right? So we were in COVID times, right? And there was a shortage of all these things across the globe, including sapphires and things. So I was hearing the rumblings. But not only that, like, unless you're a full-time employee, like an executive or somebody that's been full-time employed with the team, those are the people that, get rings. Folks like myself and Paul Porter and DJ Bolt and Christoph and Sonia, we're all like independent contractors at the end of the day. We're not technically employed by the team.
Same
right,
here.
same as you. So you understand how that works. So
I know. They have to call JP to let me in the building every single time.
Right. You don't have a key card. Like, it took forever for me to get the key card, but it got to the point where, like, look, can we get this guy a key card? Like, he needs to be accessible around the building.
Yeah, your key card is when you rotate those rings. That's your key card forever.
Excuse me, let me in. I understood, I was like, I'm not a full-time employee. I'm not expecting to get one. If I got one, it would be fantastic. And
people were telling you and asking you, like, you're going to get a ring. Are you going to get a ring?
And we kind of got word that we most likely we were not. And again, I'm not saying COVID was an excuse. It's the facts. We were in a weird place, and the team technically really didn't make money that year. There was no fans, so I understood. I'm like, it sucks, but at the end of the day, I'm happy for everybody around me. You know what I mean? I was genuinely like, these people have put in just as much time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears as I have. So if they get them, I'm truly, genuinely happy for them. And so I really did not know it was coming. And so I did get a phone call from Rachel, who works closely with the executive level. And she said, hey, just out of curiosity, do you know your ring size?
Oh, come on.
I was like,
geez.
Where's this coming from? Why? And she was like, for the cup rings. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, we need to get your size. And I was like, this is not a funny joke. Like, what? And so she's like, I need you to get your ring size. And so I gave her my ring size. I didn't know my ring size. I had to call Golden Diamond Stores. I had to call Steve and Julia and be like, hey, what was my wedding band size? And they're like, well, you need to go a size up. And so anyways.
Did you cry? Did you cry when she asked you? I
not at that point.
Okay.
Not at that point.
We're getting to the tears?
Yeah. So, but mind you, there's tiers of rings, right? So, and you've seen it because there's like the fan collection that's out. It's not, you can't really purchase the same kind of okay.
I have none of them.
Okay. So
they're all out of my price range.
So, but there's different levels. You've seen the player rings, you've seen the executive rings, you've seen the ones you can purchase. So I really genuinely thought she was referring to like the fan collection ring. Okay. Not the diamond, not the sapphire, but like, hey, this is an honorary thing. Okay. Because even those are pretty damn awesome. Like Sean, DJ Bolt got one. I'm like, it still looks amazing. So honestly, that's truly what I thought I was going to get. And so, and not knowing when. So you're starting to see the rings for the full-time staff, and everybody's sharing it on social media because they had like a ceremony and stuff. And so you're seeing all of that. And you're
you're begrudgingly giving their pictures likes.
You're like, you're like, but at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, you're like, but you check it off, and I'm happy for you. That's awesome. Not knowing when or whatever. So it was the playoff game, and I'm literally working, and we were at the time, we were not at 218. We were like in the Chase Club, had like a staging area for that whole run. And so I'm up there and I'm getting ready to do a break. Paul Porter had just done something. I'm getting ready to do a break. And I look around me and everybody has their cell phones out and they're just like this. And I'm looking, and even people above me, and I'm like, what is happening? And then I see Rachel to my left, and she comes walking out with a box. And I was like, oh my God. And so now she's walking to me with the box, and I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it's finally happening. This is real. And so I opened the box, and then obviously this is not the one. This was the second. This is the first one I had. And so I opened the box, and I saw like it was blinged out. And my facial expression, like, and it's all recorded. I had to post it. So,
you mean you got like a player ring?
This is the one. So even this ring, for those at home, the difference between this ring and like the player ring is the player ring opens. Like this one, there's opens, and it has like a clasp. It has like different stuff. It has the diamond, it has Cooper's messaging and all that. That's
do you work
the difference.
for Jostens now or something?
I do. Thank you, Jostens, for the fan collection brought to you. So anyway, but I opened the box because it has like LED lights in it, and I saw the rocks and the sapphires, and that's when it hit me, like, oh my God. And I literally was about to cry because at that point, all those times in those watch parties, it instantly brought me back to watch parties, whether at Channelside or in St. Pete or wherever we were doing watch parties, and the highs and the lows, especially the season we got swept by Columbus.
Well, how about not even that, Greg? Not even like just the team stuff, but I mean, you started working here how long ago?
06.
06, and did you get let go at some point?
Yes, we did. Yeah. I mean, the trials and tribulations have been with this organization, just through the ups and downs, the good teams, the bad teams, getting fired, having terrible ownership, Mr. Vinnick buying the team, getting the phone call to come back. Then there's a lockout year. So there was just so many things in the journey to get to this point. But yes, that all of that, the watch parties, the disappointment, and having to be that first person to go out to the fans and be like, I'm sorry, it was, it didn't work out this year, but hopefully next year. Like, I have to be that guy. I'm like, all of that emotion and all that hit me at that one point. And that's when it really just kind of sank in. It's like, Mr. Vinnick, the whole organization, they thank you, and they truly appreciate it. And so that was awesome, man. And so now here we are, back to back, and get another one. It's just
I'm sure everybody has been to a game. I mean, you're all over social media. You are phenomenal at your job.
Thank you.
I told you that on every podcast we've done that nobody's listened to. I mean,
is this like number 8?
Yeah,
like, it's literally like number 8 over there.
But this is the big time now.
Yeah,
this is
good. Well, congrats to you as well. I remember we were recording in a small little closet over at Cox Media.
Yeah,
90 behind 97X. So look at you now, like on the come up.
Yeah,
so congrats to you.
We're in the old Tampa Bay Storm equipment closet at Amalie Arena.
Still smells like Storm football in here, so
it's not that great. But I do want to let everybody know what you do is not easy whatsoever. People might just think you're getting on a mic and you're hyping up a crowd. And I've been to a million games before, and I really think the move that a lot of people do is, a lot of teams that I've seen is, it's hire a cute girl, it's let her do her thing. Is she good? I don't know. But you know what, man, you're great. You're all over the place. And so tell me, because I don't know anything, man. You were the first. You wished me happy birthday before my family did yesterday. I don't know what's going on social media. How are you going to the All-Star Game in Vegas and hosting that, when in Vegas they could have Britney Spears or one of those Wayne Rooney? What? No, is he the soccer guy?
Yeah.
I mean, so
Wayne Brady. I think
one of the, when they could have anybody in the world. How did it happen with you, Greg Wolf?
So this is actually my 4th league event, so to speak, in a row. You can't count the COVID year, 2020. We all know there was no fans. We had limited fans here when we went on the Cup run. But going back to 2018, when the All-Star Game was here, the league typically utilizes the hosts of that market for those events, because at the end of the day, it saves them money. You know, they're not having to put them up in hotels and airfare because they're utilizing their people in that market.
You did a lot of red carpet stuff,
I
didn't
did,
you?
yes. We had the red carpet walk. I co-hosted the mascot game with my buddy Mike Todd, who's the in-game host of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's such a nice guy, too. We've maintained a friendship ever since then. That was years ago. So I did the red carpet. I did the mascot game. I did some of the stuff for the skills competition where Vegas's host, Mark, and we'll get to him in a second, he hosted the on-ice stuff with the players, skating around and asking them questions. But still, there had to be stuff done in arena as well. So they utilized me for that. Same thing with the All-Star Game. So that was 2018. 2019, here comes the Global Series. I actually got a call before the Global Series from John Bacharo, who's basically the Fran Zone, the vice president of game presentation, but he's that for the entire NHL. So when they do the outdoor series or the Winter Classic or the All-Star Game or any of those events, he's the guy running that show.
You're known in these circles.
Yes, because I've traveled with these people. I've done numerous events with these people. You get to know these people, and they get to know you.
Sweden is what he's saying.
I have been to Sweden, which was by far the defining moment of everything. And to be in Sweden for that whole situation was by far the coolest experience of my entire life. But here we go. So 2019 Sweden, 2020 nothing. 2021 Stanley Cup Final. He's here. That's a league event. So Stanley Cup Final, kind of they take over the building, same sort of situation. So that was 3. And here we are, Vegas in 2022. So originally my call with him was to talk about Nashville and the Stadium Series, because when he was here for Stanley Cup, I was under the impression at that time that the Stadium Series was going to be neutral ice like it was in Sweden. Buffalo Lightning, it's their PA guy, but it's great. It's Lightning's host. It's both mascots. I was under the impression it was going to be similar to that. And so when I saw John, I said, dude, how awesome would it be for me and my buddy Big D, who's the host of the Preds, and he and I have maintained a friendship since he was the host out in Vegas as well. So he's with the Preds. So he and I have been chomping at the bit to do an event together.
How dare you be friends with Predators people?
I'm just saying, man, I got a long lineage in the league with hosts. And
you got friends on the Canadiens, because they're a rough bunch.
No, we don't have any Canadian connections.
Okay,
so
good,
we keep it here in the States, as they say. So I actually went up to visit him last season. Just again, I take it upon myself to go and visit these other markets to see what their game presentation's like, and I shadow their people just because I get to I get better understanding of what are you doing, what are we not doing that you're doing. Like, so I went up to see him, and again, we've maintained a good friendship. So I told him, I was like, we've been chomping at the bit to do an event together, and how cool we finally have an event that's happening. So it would be awesome to make that atmosphere in that Nissan Stadium like a college atmosphere. It's the Lightning's fans versus the Preds fans. It's Greg champion, hit Bolts Nation while he's championing Smashville. It's Thunderbug doing a dance off versus Nash, and let these guys, and so at that time, he was like, these are great ideas, And
I bet nobody knew this world was so in depth, by the way.
It's in depth, guys. It's super in depth. So I planted the seed, as they say. And so fast forward to at the beginning of this year, I sent him another email, just, hey, has that panned out? Have you given any more thought? And he hits me back a few weeks ago and says, call me. And I thought it was about Stadium Series. And he basically tells me, listen, he goes, while we love the idea that you had brought up about the fans and putting it in a new, technically it's a home game for Nashville. And so it's not the neutral ice that I thought it was going to be. So he's like, I don't think it would go over too well with the Nashville contingency if we brought in the host of the Lightning. And I was like, you know what? I totally get it, because if we ever figure out a way to do like a Florida outdoor series at Raymond James Stadium with us and the Panthers, and it becomes like a whole thing, we would not be pleased if you guys brought in the Panthers host to our backyard.
Why,
right?
do the Nashville, or do they have to have a little yeehaw to their host?
Possibly.
Okay.
I mean, Big D is the host of the country station in Nashville, so maybe there is part of that.
You have to have some rodeo experience or something.
Maybe.
Okay.
And maybe that's part of their game presentation. I don't know. So I thought he was letting me down nicely, gently, just to call me and have the respect to be like, hey, as much as we love it, it's just not going to happen. And so literally that's what I thought the call was going to be. And I was ready to hang up. I was like, John, I appreciate the call. I hope you have a great time. He's like, hold on. He goes, I need you in Vegas. And I was like, what? And he goes, I need you in Vegas. And first thing I said to him was, well, why are you not using the hosts in Vegas? And he said, we are, but there's so many moving parts as you've now seen. There's other things that have been added that are like, what is happening? So now
the whole thing,
I mean, it's insane. Like with the shooting of the fountains at the Bellagio, and they have to hit the cards to make 21. So there's all these ancillary things happening now. So now I'm starting to understand the capacity of what they're really putting on as a show in Vegas. So Mark, who is one of the hosts in Vegas, and they have Katie Marie, Mark is going to do the skills competition, same stuff on the ice with the players. But again, there's a lot of things happening in the arena. So me and Katie will be tag teaming on stuff in game. Skills Friday, Saturday, All-Star. There's nothing to be done on the ice for All-Star. It's not like skills.
Right.
I believe because the league is saying if we're flying Greg Wolf in from across the country, then we're going to utilize Greg Wolf as much as possible. So then they're like, we need you for the All-Star game. So I originally thought it was just going to be All-Star game stuff. And they're like, no, we need you for skills. We need you for All-Star. And now I'm wondering, are you also going to need me on the strip to do something? Like, I have no idea at this point. When I get there, I'll find out. But they're going to utilize me in whatever fashion they need. I do not believe there's going to be a red carpet player walk because, again, we're still in COVID times. I don't see them allowing fans to get that close to the players. But they did say that there could be a Q&A session with NHL All-Star legends, and you may have to do the Q&A on the stage outside of T-Mobile. Like, again, I have no idea. So I'm showing up. I'm like, what do you need me to do? Let's rock. And so that's kind of where we're at with it. But that's been the culmination, again, of working with the league for 4 years on 4 different events. To be on the top of their Rolodex, so to speak, again, speaks volumes not only about me, but the entire Lightning Vision crew, this whole organization, because they always are looking to us to set the standard, which I believe we totally have. So if they're looking at me, that's just a sum of the whole. So,
right. Well, tell us about the perks of what's happening with the All-Star game. And I especially like when you tell us what happens at the beginning of each season, where pretty much because you are, the in-game arena, in-stadium host of the Lightning, you have, people are looking at you all the time. So
all the time.
You got to have the freshest gear.
You do.
So they let you and the team sort of go wild, don't they?
Well, here, yes, because at the beginning of the season, there's new fashions that come out. And as you know, we went from Reebok to Adidas. So, and I was just talking to Dave Randorf about this and Paul Kennedy. They're like, your closet must be ridiculous. And I was like, it was. But when we switched from Reebok to Adidas, I can't rock the Reebok stuff anymore. Got rid of everything. So like literally I gave friends jackets and hats. I'm like, take what you want. Like, cause I can't really rock it anymore.
Wow.
So pretty much blew it all out. So now I've had to get a whole new wardrobe of just Adidas stuff, but they come up with new stuff every single year. So like you said, walking around the arena, being on camera, always back selling the team store specials. Fans come up to you. Where'd you get that hat? It was at the team store. You can get to it at Staircase at Section 101. And then you become like almost an advertisement pitch to them to say exactly what you've been rehearsing and hearing 1,000 times. You are a walking billboard at all times. And whether that's on social media, whether that's in bowl, whether that's doing a segment. So it is gear, but it's in the industry, they call that wardrobe. So you do get wardrobe. But there's things that happen throughout the season too. Like we have our military appreciation game. So we'll have gear for that. Like we just did Gasparilla. So rocking the Gasparilla t-shirt. So there's a Hockey Fights Cancer. There's all these different elements and different things too. So throughout the season, like the High Voltage beer from Cigar City, we got to give them a new t-shirt. And so throughout the season, you start to really accumulate some gear. And same thing with All-Star. I'm like, am I going to be rocking All-Star? I can't wear Lightning stuff. I get it. Because the same thing, you're neutral. They're bringing you on to represent the league. And so as much as I would be in All-Star stuff, this will be front and center. Just know that Bolts Nation, the bling will be front and center for All-Star.
What are there any wild parties or anything going on?
I don't know, because also the NFL Pro Bowl is in Vegas on Sunday. So you're going to have all the NFL All-Stars and all of the NHL All-Stars in Vegas the same weekend. So I'm assuming, and then with NFL and NHL comes other athletes and other celebrities. And guess what? How close is Vegas to LA where the Super Bowl? So I'm assuming Vegas is going to be out of control this week. So are there parties and stuff? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going with the flow.
Did you get up close and personal with Kid Rock when he performed at intermission for the halftime show for at intermission a couple years ago?
I did not get up close. So I was here for rehearsals, just like I'll be there in rehearsals for Machine Gun Kelly and Zed. And they're now starting to announce, they just announced the national anthem singers. There's a lot of special guests that are going to be out there.
You love Machine Gun Kelly, don't you?
I don't hate him. Some of his music, sometimes I find myself singing it, and I'm like, why am I singing this song? I liked him more as a rapper, to be honest with you, until,
Well, Eminem knocked him out of the genre.
Eminem bodied him. Although I will say he came at him hard, and he was eating cereal while he was rhyming, and I had respect for that. But, he's had his ups and downs. I don't think he's a talented individual. He wouldn't be where he's at and married or getting married to Megan Fox if he didn't have talent.
Hockey's just it's just wild. Like
you got to wonder sometimes, but they have a reason for it. You know what I mean? Just like Zed, and you're going Machine Gun Kelly and Zed, right? So who does that tell you it's targeting? JP, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's the next generation of hockey fans. So the old guy that wants to listen to AC/DC all the time, okay, cool, but we also have to appeal to a younger audience as well, and that's who's buying the merch. That's the ones rocking the hats and stuff. So that's a big part of it. They're engaged in social media. They love Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, and they love Zed, so I get it.
Well, I mean, we love Megan Fox. All right, so listen, so tell me the process for each game.
Sure.
I mean, so people know, like, when you talked about being contractors, like, you have another job, a full-time job.
I do.
Like
Street
I have other jobs. Like these are not our full-time job. This is the best side job that you could have in the world.
100%.
But what's your process like each game night? How do you prepare? Because you go through a process.
So we do. So we don't just show up, like you said, at the game's at 7. We're here at 6:45. Let's roll. No, like I'm here at 4 o'clock typically on a game day. As soon as I get here, I immediately go to the Miracle Lounge and link up with the game operations crew, with Lucy, and kind of get my earpiece headset, my IFB, which is my mobile earpiece, just to make sure the batteries are good. You test everything. You have to test everything. Microphone stuff. Like even when Sonia's here, she's doing sound checks. She's doing rehearsals. We run through the whole show basically because again, it's so intricate and there's a lot of moving parts and you have a lot of people putting on a show together. You can't just all show up at the same time and expect every single game is going to be the same every game. So
and your boss also too, if something misfires, he's not happy about it.
So we've all learned the John Franzone outbursts over the years. But
you actually have one of those jobs where people are in your ear.
Yes.
Like you're a newscaster.
Yes, even more so because even when Charlie Belcher filled in for me once, who's on the news, he said the next morning, he's like, I have to give credit to Greg Wolf. He goes, that was nowhere near what I have to deal with on a daily basis because of how much air traffic control is happening in your ear while I'm trying to do stuff. And I'm like, is he talking to me or am I? And so, yes, that's what's taken years of practice is when I have that earpiece in during the game and I'm being cued when it's my time to do what I'm supposed to do, there is still traffic happening on that line as they're still directing the show. I may be doing a contest with a fan and I'm engaged with what I'm doing, but I'm hearing the director talking to the light guy, tilt the light more to the left. Hey, can you run that feed, run the graphic, whatever, flip it. Is he saying something to me? Is he telling me, Greg, move to the left? Like you have to be able to focus on what you're doing, but also decipher what's happening in your ear and know and pick out the pieces that are just for you. And that took years of practice to be able to do that because sometimes you're in the middle of something and something's happening on the board or the graphic is totally wrong and the director's freaking out and he's screaming at somebody in the booth and you're hearing all that. So you have to maintain like nothing's going on in your ear. You're just doing your thing. So yes, that's taken years of practice. But so I get here, I get my earpiece, I get my mic, we do mic check. Then I go over the script and basically the night is scripted from the beginning to the end. And again, it's for TV and everything else that goes along with the game. It's the NHL rules. Like there's very meticulous rules and you will get fined if you are not on time with like to the second.
But you will?
I will not get fined.
Oh, okay.
The team would get fined.
Oh, okay.
If the direction and they run over or, they're playing music during gameplay, there's all these things that happen that are not allowed to happen and you better be on point.
You hear that, DJ Bolt?
And he knows because he's been there. Christoph sometimes has accidentally hit the cords. Like, what? There are things that happen. So you go through all of that in the pregame to eliminate any of those bumps and bruises that you may have along the way. You have to run videos. Sometimes you run the video and it stalls. Now we run it back. You better run that again before, so there's things that happen. And so we try to run a flawless show every night. So we go through all that stuff. at the beginning. Typically, after I go through it all, know what games we're doing, what are we giving away, where am I supposed to be? Because sometimes that changes every game. You need to be in the suite with so-and-so. So who's my cameraman? I like to know all of that stuff. So God forbid he's running late. I can text him, hey, are you on your way? I don't have to call the girl downstairs who's dealing with her own stuff. I try to take it upon myself. After years of practice, I've learned that. Try to be resourceful yourself.
Well, tell me who you've run into. I mean, and just give me the rundown of celebrities and athletes that you've run into over the years, because there are people that you get to meet and interact with that we don't even know are at the game until it's over and you posted a picture. I mean, you got Travolta.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me some of the guys. You take a picture with everybody.
I do. I mean, that's part of the perk of the gig, is to meet these people, talk to these people. Travolta was probably one of the biggest ever. Really, just last year, there were so many celebrities and athletes here. Partying with Bret Michaels at the after party, that was crazy.
What's his deal? Is he really a Lightning fan, or is he just like the free tickets?
No, I think you have to wonder sometimes about that, because you're like, where did that come from? You know, like a Bret Michaels or a Charles Barkley. There's guys and women out there that are diehard Lightning fans. You're kind of like, where did that come from? And you wonder, is it just the winning mentality that this is a good hockey team? They like the product. Our fans have embraced us. And so does that resonate with people outside of our market? So you have to wonder, like, where did their love come from? I can't answer the Bret Michaels question. I really can't answer. The Charles Barkley one, he and Cooper kind of have formed some sort of friendship. And so I've learned that Cooper has a lot of connections. He's got a lot of celebrity people that really enjoy him. And I don't know if they're texting back and forth, but I feel like Coop has kind of become his own little celeb, man.
Well, listen, I would like to if we can just name drop two of
Okay.
I put together a shirt. Cooper wanted a shirt made for Charles Barkley when he did an interview with him for, I don't know if it was something in Canada, and all of a sudden Cooper takes the shirt off and it's Charles Barkley riding a jet ski holding up the Stanley Cup. and Cooper wanted that made, so Breezer reached out to me and was like, can you help that? So we went to Smack and everything like that. So I've been involved in a couple of, nothing directly. I don't go directly to Cooper.
Sure.
There's a man that you have to go through.
There is.
But I'm doing some work for him, and I love it, by the way.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Congrats.
He's a big time celeb. How do you get Travolta? Like, because he doesn't know anybody anything. He's just enjoying the game, right?
He also lives, in Ocala. You know, he's got a freaking airline in his garage, an airliner. Again, I don't know how those things happen. That's above my pay grade.
But do you go in there on your own?
No, typically they'll tell me whoever is in the building working with them, or they know they're in the suite. For the playoff run, they were like, hey, are you cool if our host comes over and you help get the fans fired up? They're going to lose their mind when they see you. 9 times out of 10, they're like, hell yes. And so Travolta, I went up to the suite. They're like, hey, we're going to have Travolta. And at first they're like, you're just going to talk to him. And then when I went up to talk to him, first of all, I thought he was going to be bigger. That was the first thing I noticed. Like, I don't know. Like,
was he a tiny man?
Next to me, yes. But I'm a big dude, 6'4". So I don't know. Like, you have these, perceptions of people because you've seen them on television or movies or whatever. And then when you meet them in real life, it's just funny how your perception of what is real. Same with Bret Michaels. I mean, but I'm a big dude.
We're finally going to make TMZ. Listen, Travolta's tiny. You heard it on the block party first. So
he's not as a big as man as I thought he was going to be. But I went up and talked to him and I said, hey, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. And he's like, what do you want me to do? You want me to get him fired up? And I was like, yeah, dude, like, hell yeah. If you want to go that route, let's go that route. And so he was into it. You know what I mean? And so most of them are. But again, I'm standing there with him and I was like, we had a penalty. And so what happens when you get a penalty? It delays the break. So a penalty happens right before we were supposed to go live. So now I've got at least 2 minutes to hang out with Travolta,
where you're
right?
just kneeling by him, right?
I'm literally standing next to him, and I'm like, hey, and I'm telling him, hey, we just had a penalty. We're going to be waiting for at least another 2 minutes. And so we just started talking, and I was telling him about my business, and, he was telling me about his next movie he was getting ready to do. And then I was like, would you be cool if I just record a little message to my mom? And he was literally like, let's do it. So I record literally like a 10-second video. I was like, hey mom, you're never going to believe who is standing next to me right now. You've loved this man your entire life. and I cannot be more happy than to bring it to you right now, Mr. John Travolta. And he's like, "Hey, Toby, your son's awesome. Go Bolts." And I was like, this is mind blowing. I literally said to my mom, she was like in tears. She was like, that's like her guy,
You got Travolta to do a free cameo for your mom.
A free cameo for my mom. So that just tells you the kind of person he is.
That's cool. That's very cool.
There was a lot of Rays players, Bucks, Vita Vea, Glasnow, obviously Kiermaier.
All great guys.
We had Young Gravy, as you know. Who else was here, man? There were so many.
It's just over the years.
On Franzone's door, there was a collage of all the people that were here during the run. But a lot of Bucks players, a lot of Rays players, former players, like Brad Richards was here, Vinny LeCavier, Marty St. Louis. He was awesome in getting the fans fired up. But yeah, there's just...
We can't ever take Derek Brooks for granted, by the way.
Brooks,
Hall of Famer that just roams around here.
Yeah, Mike Allstott. There's just, it was just an amazing run.
Did Gronk come to a game?
Gronk came to a game, yeah. Sonia got to hang out with him. I was supposed to do something with Gronk to get the fans fired up, but they were late getting to where they were. And again, as the game night script goes, we got to move on. Like, if we can revisit it, we will. But Gronk is Gronk. So they did something later, and they showed him in the suite, and he acted a fool, and that was that. But I don't know that stuff till I get here.
Okay.
Who I'm going to talk to or who I'm going to meet. So
now, you don't have a lot of interaction with the players, but you've done so much stuff over the years. I know you've hosted some charity events. Yep. What's been your most memorable player interaction?
Oh, wow, that's a great question.
Finally, right?
Man.
Is it with somebody that's not playing anymore that you do, or did you connect with somebody? Because, like when I have these block parties,
sure.
I've done, I don't know, there's 80-something episodes.
Yeah,
like
some of them stick out.
A handful of guys, like, I'll DM with,
Sure.
But other than that, like, it's,
pretty cash.
Yeah. Anybody for you, or you're like, wow, I'm just super cool with this person? Probably. It seems like no.
No, because again, you're right. They're on the ice. I'm in the stands. Like, there's not a whole lot of interaction. I will say, I really enjoyed, two things stick out. Number one was the Can Jam event that we did at
McDonough and Killorn, right?
With McDonough and Killorn at Sparkman Wharf to raise money for the foundation and with all the players out there. But Ryan and Killer were super thankful. They're like, let's take some pictures with our DJ Maria Mattarelli after the event. And it was an awesome, awesome event to really kind of see the players in that environment was really, really cool. Obviously the Bolts Family Carnival stuff that we had done in the past and really kind of seeing the players let their hair down and kind of engage with the fans was really cool. And take a team photo with them and their families was pretty awesome.
You did all the fan fest, right?
All the fan fest, did all that stuff, like the Bolts Family Carnival. We did the game night, which I really wish we would revisit that we did at the Tampa Theater with all the players and pitting them against each other and the create a meme like out of it, and then there was just so much. We need to do that in the stadium, like in the arena, because it was a small intimate event at the Tampa Theater, but I think we could sell out the entire arena to do something like that on the floor where it's a 360 kind of event. And I hope they revisit that at some point. But the other one was probably with all the players. And I'm going to go back to Sweden again, like we kind of talked about it earlier. You notice how when we won the first Stanley Cup 2 years ago, that the fellas all stated that Stockholm was the time that they all came together as a team, and that's what catapulted us to the Stanley Cup. It's so much so that it's on the ring. So
as a fan, that was surprising, but you learned how much that trip meant to everybody.
And I was on that trip, and there was a night that we were privy to be a part of. That was the night that they all bonded, and we were there for that. And so there was a very few select people here from the organization that went on that trip. Myself, Steven Frey, who is basically the John Franzone game direction now, Kinsey, who was our social media coordinator, Liz Koharski, who's the game day or personnel assistant, whose name's on the Stanley Cup, Liz, Christina, who does stuff with the foundation, and then Thunderbug. And so that was it, right? So Thunderbug
in costume or no?
No, you know what I mean. Like he wasn't just hanging out in Stockholm. I mean, he was, but not with us. Like when he was off the clock, Thunderbug was off the clock. But that's it. That was just a group of us. And so on this one particular night before the first game versus Buffalo, we got a call from Bill Wickett. it was either Wicket or Breezeman. I want to say it was Wicket. And he said, hey, we're hanging out at this sports bar in Stockholm. Here's the address. You guys should come have a beer. And so we're like, oh, hell yeah. So they have scooters, just like we do in downtown. They have scooters in Stockholm. So we all hopped on scooters, and it was freezing cold. So riding a scooter in Stockholm, up hills and down hills, it was freezing. Like our knuckles were frozen. So we go to this sports bar. And when we walk in, it's loud, it's boisterous, you know. And we see Wicket, we see Breezeman. They have like a coat thing. We put our coats down, and they're like, "You guys want? We'll get you a beer, whatever you want." And so I'm starting to look around. I'm seeing some of the coaches, and you're looking around because now it's all the players, right? But they're all in street clothes. They're not, you know, they're like in street clothes, not their suits that they normally wear. Like they're dressed in hoodies and like they got Scully caps on, toques if you're Canadian.
Talk about some small guys when they're all out of their gear.
Right, like the Tyler Johnsons and the Yanni Gord. So they're all in this sports bar. Little did we know when we went in there that they shut the sports bar down just for the team. Victor Hedman, who's a god over there, knows the owner that owns this franchise of sports bars. So he closed the sports bar down just for the guys in the team. So we're sitting down in our own little group of us, and we're enjoying our own drinks, and we're looking around, and I'm like, this is awesome. Like they're like you can see they're talking smack to each other, and they're just being guys, like, but not just groups of, you know, like there was long tables, and they're all just a camaraderie. You could feel it in the room. We, as our little own group, we're paying attention. We're drinking and we're having a good time. And we noticed this lady outside has this small car, and she's literally, I guess her apartment was across the street, and she's bringing furniture pieces out to like stack them up next to the car. Like she's going to put this stuff in her car. Literally, she's trying to move an entire apartment and put it into this small car. And we're literally watching this happen and unfold for like 45 minutes. And she's trying to play Tetris to put all the furniture and stuff in her car. Mind blowing.
Help the lady out,
so
man.
we're just drinking. We're watching. She had a friend there. Though. She had a friend there with her. It wasn't just her by herself.
It's American hunks moving Swedish junk.
Hold on, it gets better. So after like 45 minutes, she finally shuts the hatch and shuts it. And we all stand up and start cheering for her. And now the players are like, what are they doing? Right? Like, what are they cheering about? We're literally clapping for her, and she could see us in the window. We're like, yes, you did it. You did it. And so they're like, what is going on? So then literally Cooch, Vazzy, I want to say Chernak, Sergey, they're all hanging out on this table like behind us. And they're looking at like, what's going on? And so I'm telling them, this lady was literally for 45 minutes trying to play Tetris to fit in an entire apartment's worth of furniture, and she finally did it. And they're looking and laughing. And so I want to say Wick went out and invited her in for a drink. He was like, you know, that was, the guy said you did something, so come on in for a drink. So that vibe and that night was just amazing to hang out and see them in that environment. What happens next? They go and sweep Buffalo, and we go on to win the Stanley Cup. So to be in that environment, to watch it unfold, the ring meant even more because I was there. I was a part of it. I saw it. I witnessed it and was a part of all of that. So that was a crowning jewel moment. But being in a bus with Victor Hedman, because again, we were traveling, going to practice and stuff like that. They'd have a time where we could get on that same bus. And again, this is Victor's, he's a god in this town. And just being on the bus, and he was just talking with us about his hometown and stuff like that. So that was probably one of the crown jewel moments of everything.
Listen, Greg, I could talk to you forever. You've got a bunch of stories. You've worked here for a long time. People want to know, when are you going to have like a Twitter name that everybody can embrace here? I mean, you were back on the radio 20 years ago. You were your third leg Greg on social media, but you're Greg Wolf here. Yes. Are you going to be third leg Greg forever? I
think at this point, because the springboard to my career was my radio career, right? And so if you do your own research, which you can do, of how I got that name, it was literally a street bit that happened, and I was running so fast when they were doing the groundbreaking for Raymond James Stadium. I wasn't supposed to be there. Security came. I got paranoid. I ran, and I was running so fast. I was literally like I had three legs. That's how the name came to be. So while some people may take it in one way and some people may take it in another,
I'm offended, actually.
It's fine. You're allowed to, but you know, I did run track, Seth, in high school in the 400-meter dash, and the third leg of the 400 meters where you need the most power and speed, because if you're behind in the race, you need to pick up pace, is what they say.
Wow.
So, you know, you can take it however you want to. I'm just spitting the knowledge out there when I used to have to go to the Great American Teaching and talk to children. So that's always the story I would have to tell there. But again, you know, I can't get away from that. The good thing is Twitter and Instagram allow you now to put your name as you want, even though the tag may be one thing. So if you look on Twitter, it shows in your feed as Greg3LG Wolf.
Right.
But the actual tag is at Third Leg Greg. I'm probably not going to go away from that just because at this point, it's been such a big part, and you can't move followers. And that's the thing. If you can move all my followers over to a different account, I would do it tomorrow, but that's not possible. So I'm kind of stuck with it. At this point, I think people have embraced it at this point because nobody cares. If you're going to be that sensitive about it, that's on you. But if they're not going to embrace it, I'm not mad at it. I think I've built my own fan base, and I don't really need to worry about it.
Well, I don't know who these theys are because it's only me, Greg. It's only me that's offended.
Well, then I'm saying I'm talking to you.
I wanted to confront you. I've never had a confrontation on the block party. Listen, man, this is coming out after the Vegas thing. Congrats, dude. Good luck. They're gonna run you into the ground, but you know how it goes. It's gonna be a great time.
It's gonna be awesome.
Bring me something back, right?
What would you like? Do you like a trinket? Do you like shot glasses? I mean, what's your thing?
No, just you know.
Do you want something from AllStar? Like, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna get. There is a thing of gift. They said at one of the hotels they have like a gift bag thing or whatever.
I want something in there.
Okay, you can have whatever's in the gift bag.
You don't need any of that stuff.
I don't.
Greg, thank you very much. You can follow him on social media, but you're gonna have to find that for yourself.
You can find me. It's very easy.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you guys for having me.